Hello, everyone. Thank you for being patient. We appreciate it. All right. Thank you for joining our webinar today. My name is Olamide, and I'll be hosting this webinar with my colleague, Ebere. All right. So joining us today are international education specialists who will give a brief rundown on what you should know about your study abroad and how you can navigate the entire journey. Our speakers today are Afordau. She is an international education specialist. Also, we have Mr. Godwin, he's an IELTS and Canada education expert. We have Awele, she's a sixth form education counselor. And lastly, we have Ayola, she's a student. As we all know that thinking about to start your study abroad application and every other necessary detail can be very overwhelming. So in today's webinar, we'll be touching on those topics. And if you have any questions, you can drop them. You can drop them in the chat box, or you can note them down for now. We hope you find this section helpful for your study abroad journey. Without further ado, we are going to introduce our first speaker, which is Afordau. We'll be talking on what's required to apply for undergraduate studies in some study destinations. All right, so hello, Afordau. Thank you so much for joining us today. Okay, all right.
Okay, hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, good morning. It's nice to be here today, talk to you guys. Without much beating about the bush, I'll just go straight into the aspects of this meeting that I am responsible for. I'll be talking about the requirements to study in the UK, in the US and Canada, and I'll also be talking about the reasons why attending a sixth form in Nigeria is beneficial. I would like to start with the UK, the requirements for studying in the UK as an undergraduate student. For most universities in the UK, for you to be able to do an undergraduate program, usually they would require that you either have your foundation, or you have A levels, or you have WAEC, as the case may be. For most of them, they have an age range, and usually it will be between the ages 16 and above. The average age will be 16, say perhaps to 20. And then in some cases, if the child is a bit older, like 20, 21, with reasons, they can then consider, as long as you can prove to them what you've been doing prior to when you're applying to their university. For the US, it's a bit similar to the UK. The only difference is that they don't really pay attention to A levels. What they take into consideration is WAEC or foundation. And then the age requirement is slightly different. Whilst the UK will consider someone that is age 16, for the US, the child has to be at least 17 to get admission to an undergraduate program. Same as Canada. For Canada, they're very particular about WAEC. So Canada doesn't take IGCSE at all. So the child has to have done WAEC and then foundation, and the child has to be 17 before they can admit that child to an undergraduate program. There are different variations in terms of the programs. I won't go into so much detail because I'm sure the other speakers might go into details in terms of courses and all of that. But I would just like to say something quickly because I know that might come up in the questions. For Canada and the US, for medicine, if in case there's anyone here that's looking at studying medicine, these two countries do not admit undergraduate students directly to medical courses. Specifically, medicine, pharmacy. Usually what they would expect that child to do for the US is that the child goes for an undergraduate program in the life sciences first. And then when that child has completed that, the child then uses that to apply to, the medical course that they're interested in, either medicine or pharmacy, as the case may be. On the other hand, Canada has it a bit different. Same thing in terms of academic progression. The difference is that for you to even do either medicine or pharmacy in Canada, you have to have a permanent stay. So you have to either be a permanent resident or be a citizen of Canada to be able to do either medicine or pharmacy. I just wanted to put that there just in case there's anyone here looking at any of those courses. And then in terms of financial implication, for all of these countries, they expect, well, most undergraduate courses are people usually on the minors, so people that are not adults yet. So usually they expect that you have a sponsor, and most often than not, preferably your parents, because going to pursue an undergraduate program abroad is not actually cheap. You're looking at a price range for the UK, you're looking at a price range between £15,000 to about £25,000, depending on the university and then depending on the course that you're also going for. For the UK, for example, if you're going for a course like medicine, it's a bit more expensive than the amount that I've just quoted, but the price I've quoted is for majority of the courses. So you're looking at £15,000 to about £25,000 per year. For the US, you're looking at an average of $20,000 to $35,000, and for Canada, you're looking at an average of 16 to 30,000 Canadian dollars in terms of price. Having said that, I would use that to go into the next part of this conversation, which is why you should actually consider doing your sixth form in Nigeria, the benefits of doing your sixth form in Nigeria. Based off on the requirement to study for an undergraduate program in these countries that I have mentioned prior to now, one of the major things that always comes up is the financial implication. Because for an average undergraduate program, you're looking at spending an average of 3 to 4 years, depending on the qualification you use to get into the program. So let's assume, I'm going to use the UK as an example. So if, for example, you're going to a UK university for an undergraduate program with your WAEC, for example, you're going to spend 4 years because you're just using your WAEC to enter the university. So it means that if you're spending £16,000, you're going to multiply that by 4. Then you pray that there's no increase, during the 4-year program that you're during the 4-year period that you'll be studying. So you multiply that by 4, and that is almost £72,000 just for tuition. I've not included cost of living or any other extra costs that it cost. I'm just speaking specifically based on the financial tuition, school fees now. This is just school fees I'm talking about. So one of the advantages actually of doing your sixth form in Nigeria is cost effectiveness. Because for a country like the UK, where they would actually accept your foundation results or A-level results, as the case may be, whichever one it is that you're presenting, they would actually waive off the first year of the undergraduate program for you if you have more than your WAEC results, which is, in fact, really good, because you're then saving off a lot of money from the first year. So rather than going to the UK, then getting admission with just your WAEC and then going on to do foundation, then year 1, year 2, year 3, and end of 24 years. In this case now, you do your foundation or A-levels in a sixth form in Nigeria, and then you use that as a stepping stone to get into year 1 directly, rather than going back to repeat going to do the foundation there and incurring more costs. So definitely number 1 reason why it is important or beneficial to do your sixth form in Nigeria is definitely because of the financial implication. The fact that you're saving money, so it's very cost effective, I must say. Number two reason in my course of work over the years that I have found why it is actually beneficial for a lot of young people to first start off their undergraduate program in Nigeria is the culture shock. When you do your foundation, your sixth form in Nigeria, it helps you with managing the culture, the shock that you probably face if you just from secondary school in Nigeria, just going straight into the university abroad. When I talk about shock culture shock, I'm talking about things like the food, the people, how they speak, how they teach. All of these things affect a lot of young people. And I have, in the course of my work, met a lot of parents who have gone on to tell me, oh, if they had known, they'll probably not have allowed their child, travel that at that point in time because the child struggled. And most of the things that makes these children struggle is because they were not prepared adequately for the journey that they've embarked upon, which is what a sixth form college provides. Because in the sixth form, these are the things they talk about. These are the things they introduce you to. The teaching pattern that we are used to in Nigeria is not exactly the teaching pattern as it is abroad. And going to the sixth form kind of cushions that you kind of start getting introduced into what you expect, what you're hoping for when you eventually move abroad. Even the food. So you may not necessarily start eating the food from Nigeria, but then from conversation and the fact that in most sixth form colleges, you have like an influence in the kind of meals and making a decision in the kind of meals that you take. Part of these things are helpful towards you settling in eventually when you move abroad. Then the way they speak, for a lot of good sixth form colleges, I'm going to use West Suffolk College as an example. Most often than not, they invite people from different institutions abroad and to speak to students in the college and all of that. And this is a way most children get exposed to what to expect when they travel. Because I've had some students, they'll message me and say, oh, Afordau, Miss Afordau, I'm struggling with my class because I can't really hear what the lecturers are saying. I don't really understand how they're teaching, how they're communicating. And these are part of the things that going to a sixth form in Nigeria would help you with, because it will not be strange when you eventually move abroad. Then I'm going to go into the next part of it, which is age. Okay, when I started my conversation, I did mention the age requirements for some of these countries and what they expect. And going to a sixth form in Nigeria is going to help with a lot of people. Now in Nigeria, we have a lot of young people who finish secondary school really early, 14, 15, 16 in some cases, which 16 being the least common. In fact, the most common right now is 14 to 15. With that age bracket, most often than not, they can't get admission into any of these three countries that I have mentioned for an undergraduate program because they're still considered underage. So what's going to a college in Nigeria, a sixth form in Nigeria would do for such a child is it allows that child mature whilst they are still back home, and then they get to the required age where they can then get admission into the university, and they wouldn't be spending time at home, like killing their time. They would be learning in the process and also getting mature and getting to the right age that they will be able to get into the undergraduate program abroad. So definitely age is also a factor to consider why it is important to do your sixth form in Nigeria. Then I would like to talk about the academic foundation. I'll still relate it a bit back to the culture shock. For a lot of Nigerian secondary school leavers, the way they teach in terms of subjects in Nigerian schools, we teach with subjects, so math, English, biology, etc., etc. But if in sixth form colleges in Nigeria, they teach you with modules coursework, which is what the child is going to experience when they go abroad. And so you're already getting the foundation. They don't teach you subjects, and they teach you based on the modules or your pathway that you're going for. And that gives you a solid foundation to be able to cope adequately when you eventually go abroad to study. And lastly, and most importantly, building relationships. One of the reasons why attending the sixth form in Nigeria is also beneficial is that you build relationship. I'm very aware of a lot of people who have met in their sixth forms in Nigeria, who have gotten connected to one another, good relationship that has proven to be positive at the end of the day. They go abroad together, and then they support each other academically, emotionally, and in different ways. And that's very important, because most often than not, when you travel, you're leaving your father, your mother, with what you're familiar with, what is familiar to you, and you need some kind of support in whatever form that it might be. And that is part of the things that you'll be experiencing in a sixth form, because there are a lot of activities that encourages teamwork, relationship building, etc. With this point, I hope that I've been able to pass adequate information. Do let me know if you have any questions that you want me to clarify, or any part that I talked about that you want more information on. I'm trying to manage the time that I have just to ensure that I don't overshoot it. It was lovely speaking to all of you today, and I hope you make the wise and best decision as regards your future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Afo. Thank you so much. Seeing as we are kind of trying to minimize our time, we would have the questions come at the end of the session. So if you have any questions for Afo, please let us know, let her know at the end of the session. So our next speaker will be Mr. Godwin. He's an IELTS and Canada expert. Mr. Godwin, hello.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Just a minute, let me put up my video. I hope everybody can see me. Yes, good afternoon once again. My name is Godwin Emmanuel. I'm an international English consultant, and I want to speak on some of the exams we may be needing as an undergraduate student when we have to study abroad. We have a series of exams. Some of them are for undergraduates and some of them are for postgraduates. But I will limit myself this afternoon to the undergraduate, knowing the fact that most of our participants are undergraduate students. Okay, let me talk on when we are about looking for admission and international admission. One of the requirements is we have an English proficiency test. Some schools may waive it for some students if you have a C6 in WAEC or NECO in terms of Nigeria. But some of the good schools may require us writing an English proficiency test. And I will take us through the number of English proficiency tests we write in Nigeria. And as well, for those that want to study in America, that's USA, and in Canada, some schools will require you to write a SAT exam. So I will be discussing SAT exams, and I'll also be chipping in on some of the benefits that we will get when we attend a sixth form college in Nigeria, because some of these things are taught in good sixth form colleges in Nigeria. So let's talk about a typical UK school, for example. You'll be required, just as my colleague Afo just finished speaking, there's a series of documents that you'll be required. One of them is that you have an English proficiency test. It can be either TOEFL or PTE or IELTS. For those studying in or those intend to go to America, TOEFL is more common in America, but in any case, you may be required to bring an English proficiency test. So any of these that I've mentioned, we do for your English proficiency test. And for America, just as I said, you also may need in SAT. Okay, so let me talk about TOEFL. TOEFL is an English proficiency test that is taken about 2 or 3 times in a month. The only thing you need for your TOEFL is in Nigeria, you need to register with your international, a valid international passport. You need to have a valid international passport before you are allowed to take a TOEFL exam. So the exam is called over 120, and if you have a 60 above, it's considered as a pass mark. And you'll be tested in 4 modules. Your speaking, your reading, you'll be tested in listening, and you'll be tested in writing. Any of these English proficiency tests I mentioned, those are the 4 modules that you'll be tested on. Okay, so the combination of 60 above for TOEFL is fine for your English proficiency test. And also we have PTE. PTE is pricing test for English. So that is over 90. And if you score an average of 55, 60 above, is considered as a pass mark for your English proficiency test. And lastly, I will also be talking of IELTS. IELTS is scored over 9. And for British school, British school, if you have a 6, is fine, as far as no module is less than 5.5. But for Canada, you will be expected to have nothing less than a 6 in each of the modules and overall score of a 6.5. For Canada specifically, some schools may want to waive English proficiency test for you, but it's also a requirement for visa. For your visa to be processed on time, one of the requirements for Nigerians is that you have an English proficiency test, coupled with other documents that my colleague has mentioned. So even though your school may want to waive English proficiency test for you, in the IRCC, which is the immigration in Canada, you'll be required to write an English proficiency test. So it will be well that if you are considering studying abroad, you have to write one of these English proficiency tests, even though some schools may waive it out, but it's important you get them done so that you will apply to any course that you wish to and apply to any school that you wish to. Lastly, I will be talking about SAT. SAT is like JAM in Nigeria. So it is an entrance examination to USA and some schools in Canada. So when you do your English proficiency test and your SAT, you can go into 100 level in America. So SAT is done 3-4 times in a year in Nigeria. The last one will be in July, and the next one will be in July, sorry, and the last one will be in December, November, December. The score for SAT is over 1,600, but if you just want to pass and just get an admission, a 1,100 is a fine score, it's an average score. But for those that are looking for scholarship, you should be targeting 1,400 above for you to be qualified for scholarship, either full ride scholarship or partial scholarship. So how high you score in your SAT and your English proficiency test, as well as your WAEC, will determine the kind of scholarship that you may attract, either full scholarship, partial scholarship, or full ride, as the case may be. We have some good sixth form colleges in Nigeria that when you attend them, you will be graded in these exams. Why do they want us to take this exam? I heard my colleague that just finished speaking. She was talking of how they speak over there, because they want to know that when you are coming from Africa, you're able to communicate well, you were able to read, you were able to listen to how they speak, you were able to write. So those are the things that they want to know. That's why they insist that you should write an English proficiency test. These are some of the things that a good sixth form colleges in Nigeria will do for us. They take us into the aspect of writing a good essay. They also, in the way they communicate in their vicinity and in their campuses, they will not have issues passing their speaking, and they are being taught how to speak eloquently in their classes. They also teach them how to listen well. Some of them do take this English proficiency test. So if you attend a good sixth form colleges, most times you will not have issue passing any of these English proficiency tests I just mentioned. SAT is also taught in some of them. As I said, if you have a very good score in SAT, you may be attracting some scholarship. And the other exams are for postgraduate candidates, those that are looking for masters and above. And I wouldn't want to touch on that, except if you have specific question with regards to that. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Godwin. Thank you. Please, if you have any questions for Mr. Godwin, you can just put them in the chat box. We will take them after the session, once the session is over. So our next speaker is Awele. She is a sixth form education counselor, seeing as we want you to hear what the experience is like from a sixth form counselor, sixth form education counselor, and she will be taking us through the possible pathway programs and foundation programs available. Hi, Awele.
Hello, hi, Ebere.
Yes, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Please pardon my voice, okay, but I'll try as much as possible to speak out. So I'm basically speaking about the programs for the sixth form college and the pathway. So my name is Awele, just she has said, and I'm the admissions manager for a sixth form college, Westerfield College to be precise. So according to what we have here, the programs, so we have, I'll just go straight to it. So we have American Transfer Program, we have the Canada Foundation Program, we have the Pre-Medical Pathway, we have the UK Foundation Program, and International Foundation Program. So these are the programs we have for a sixth form college. So apparently what we do in a sixth form college, we try as much as possible to accommodate those ones that are quite under the age of having to leave the country at a very tender age. So you can at least be able to adjust to the weather, just as my colleagues have spoken earlier. You'll be able to adjust to the weather, the food. We tell you about what the weather is, what to expect, how to get yourself ready, the food, the culture. So that I would not be speaking on as it's been spoken about earlier. So basically for the pathway, International Foundation, we have different pathways, and these pathways actually, just as I said, we work with modules. We don't do subjects, not like the maths, English, physics, and all that. We do modules. So we have the sciences, we have the pre-med, we have the engineering, we have the humanities, we have law, we have theater arts, we have business. So these are the different pathways that we have. We have up to 8-9 pathways. We have all of these separate classes for each pathway. So you don't have to merge pre-med with engineering, no. You don't have to merge humanities with law, no. So you have your courses and you have your timetable, you have when you're supposed to have your classes, you have when you're supposed to do this, have your practicals for those in the pre-med, the sciences, depending on the course you're going for. So these are actually the pathways we have in our sixth form college, Westerfield College. Requirements actually, you are required to have a certain grade for you to be able to progress. So first and first, for you to be able to come into the sixth form college, all we need is your school transcript, your secondary school transcript, and your international passport. For those who have not written the WAEC, you can settle down with sending us your SS1 to 3 transcripts and then your international passport. And for those who have written the WAEC, who already got their WAEC, you can give us, add up the Westerfield, the WAEC results attached to your transcript and then your international passport. Those are the requirements we need. While you've done that, you purchase the form, of course, you write the entrance exam, once you pass, you get the conditional offer. This conditional offer, of course, will have details of what you need to meet up with. Yeah, there are conditions that you can easily meet up with. So it is necessary that when you write exam, you get the condition. And of course, when you meet conditions, you get unconditional offer and you're good to go. You're there with us in Westerfield. So the grades, as you proceed and get into the college, as you proceed and get into the sixth form college, while you're studying and your different pathway programs, of course, there are certain grades that we expect that you should have. We are looking at students, okay, for an example, a pre-med student, you want to go study medicine, and of course, different countries have their different grades that you need to meet up with. So for a pre-med student, most countries would require that you have good results. When I say good results, or when I mean good results, we are talking about your core subjects, your maths, English, physics, chemistry, biology. You are expected, some schools specifically would want you to have straight A's. And truthfully, I would expect that a pre-med student, someone who is determined to become a doctor, who has decided to, go through the medical pathway, should be ready to face and sit upright to get this expected grades. Getting the straight A's or A's and B's are actually what is expected from you. Likewise, other pathways, we are not asking that you should have a low grade, no. But we are saying to you that yes, medicine is more demanding. You need to have such grades that when your application is being sent, your grade would speak for you. Why is this? Medicine is some course that everyone is looking up to. Everyone wants to become a medical doctor or some sort of related medical practitioner. So it is expected that when you have good grades, you'll be able to proceed or progress into that university. And then it is very competitive. You're not the only one the school is looking out for. You're not the only one the country is looking out for. If you're having straight A's, another person could be having straight A's with A star, and some could be having B's. Of course, they would want to consider those with A's before they get into the B's. Not because you might not be lucky to get picked if you have the B's, but it is required of you to have at least A's in your core subjects. For engineering, humanities, law, theater, art, business, yes, of course, we need you to have all your courses. You need to have the required grades for it. You need to have your A's and B's, at least a C. You can't go beyond a C. A D will not get you a progression into any country. No, it won't get you a progression into any country. So you are limited to A's, B's, and C's for your courses. So it's advisable, you are advised that when you're looking out for progression into one of these countries or any of these countries, you need to be able to sit upright to get the required grades. So scores, of course, I've spoken a bit on scores needed to apply for the undergraduate. I think I've spoken a bit on it. So you need, just as I've said, you need to have the required scores, you need to have the required grade for us to be able to send in your application for schools abroad. So, a sixth form college, of course, when you get into a sixth form college, is welcoming. You get to meet with, just as when you have to travel out of Nigeria, you get to meet with different people from different backgrounds. Yes, they are still Nigerians like you, but at least you're not siblings. Even siblings, we have different behaviors. So you get to meet with different people from different backgrounds, different people from different homes with different mentality. You mix up, you associate. You're not limited to talking. You're not limited to holding back your discussion. You have time to chit chat. You have time to sit down. You have time to talk about your education, your progression. You have time to mix up to say, oh, okay, yeah, this is me here in the sixth form college, what is expected. You have all the time to meet up with any counselor in the school to talk about it. And of course, we usually would organize a section, a one-on-one section, because we have students who would want to talk to you one-on-one. We have students who would want to talk to you in groups. So depending on the situation. So you have a one-on-one section with your counselor, you talk about it. You have the privilege to talk about the school you want to progress into. And you have the privilege to say, oh, this is what you're looking at. Sometimes we have students who would come in with the idea of, with the intention of studying a particular course, but along the line, this is why a sixth form college is good for you, okay? So along the line, when you get into the sixth form college, you get to find your strengths before you leave for school. You get to find your strength, where your strength really lies. So instead of going directly into the country, once you start a sixth form college, the sixth form college will help you to identify your strengths. So when you are able to identify your strengths, sorry about that. Can everyone hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. So when you are able to identify your strengths, you'll be able to decide on which pathway. As long as you are able to say to yourself that this is what you've come in for and this is what you want to do for yourself, and you associate with, the right counselor, you associate with the right person, you speak with someone about your what you really would want to, your achievement to be, then you will be directed in the right path. And that is why we keep saying, or will say, that a sixth form college is good for you, rather than getting into the university and then you miss your way along the line. We don't expect that anyone will miss his or her ways, but it is advisable that yes, you get into a sixth form college, have a good background, so that when you get into the country, you don't fall, you stand firm. You stand more like someone who has been there even before now. So advantages of a sixth form college is exposing you to the life out there, exposing you to culture, exposing you to their food, exposing you to, not because we're going to be cooking the food for you, but just as my colleague has said, you have the privilege of deciding. You pick your meal timetable, you can, you speak for yourself. Nobody is choosing for you anymore. You're seen and being treated as an adult to an extent. You are open to certain decisions. And then you have people to guide you when you don't understand certain things before you leave for the country. So I hope that this little time, I know we don't have so much time to spend to discuss about this. Whatever information you need more on a sixth form college, please feel free to send it into the chat box. We'll be able to answer you through the chat box and then give you information further on what you need to understand on and about a sixth form college. Thank you, everyone. Over to you, Ebere.
Thank you, Awele. Thank you so much. That was pretty detailed. But I know we're running out of time, but that was a nice summary. Again, I just want to remind everyone, if you have any questions, please put it in the chat box. We cannot take your questions in between sessions. So anyone that we cannot reply in the chat box, we will take it after the session. So our last is Ayola. Ayola she'll be sharing her experience in a sixth form college. Hi, Ayola.
Hi, Ms. Ebere.
Welcome. You can take it from here.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. Thank you again, Degrees and Careers, for giving me the opportunity to speak today. So I attended a sixth form college, West Africa College. So basically, a sixth form college is a great place to brush up on your knowledge about what you want to study, and also gives you a foretaste of what university courses would be like. Let me give you an example. So throughout secondary school, I prepared to do business law as my first degree. But then during my IGCSEs, I changed to consumer psychology, which needed me to do a bachelor's in business and management. Since I don't know a lot about accounting in secondary school, my sixth form college gave me the knowledge about the basic things I needed to know about accounting, while also showing me what I needed to learn in university. Let me give you an even far-fetched example. I have a friend who changed from business to software engineering in my former university, in my former college, West Africa College. The sixth form college gave him the opportunity he needed to change his course and not be affected by his lack of knowledge in the science of computers. Attending a sixth form college, especially in Nigeria, also gives you the ability to make friends and learn more about the place where you want to go. For example, I have a friend I met in Westerfield College, and he's in Ukraine. And obviously, if he didn't go to Westerfield College and he just went straight in with the whole war crisis that's going on, but then because he went to Westerfield College and made a lot of friends, we were able to check up on him and know how he's doing. And I like to say that he's doing fine. So when you go to a sixth form college, you get mentors and you get guides who will help you through your whole school application process instead of you doing it alone. So for example, when I went to Westerfield College, I had an international expert specialist who helped me, international education specialist who helped me with my visa process, with my personal statement that I needed for school. And it was a lot of, it was a stressful school. I had to call for days and the school wouldn't pick up and it was just very stressful. But for me, it was stress-free. So in a sixth form college, you get the chance to discover yourself, whether you like art, whether you like music, because you have more time to yourself and to focus on what you like, rather than focusing on, rather than being bombarded with like subjects from, rather than being bombarded with subjects. Like in secondary school now, you get like 9 subjects. You have to do 9 subjects, 10 classes in a day, and only 1 hour breaks. But then in college, you start school at a particular time and you end school at a particular time, and you only have like 4 courses or 4 classes in a day, which gives you time to know more about yourself and take on more extracurricular activities. So I really don't regret attending a sixth form college, and it was one of the best academic years of my life, and I hope you'll be able to attend them too. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. So that was the final speaker. I can see some questions in the chat box. I can see Afordau has already replied to a couple of them. Afordau, I don't know if you will like to speak on any other thing. So like give us more depth on these questions you're replying to. Okay, someone is asking. Hi, Afo. Okay, yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, some people have been dropping their questions. I've tried to answer them, but I answered it generally. I don't know if everybody can read or see them, but based on the questions, there are so many of them asking if they can transfer, if they're already in an existing university. So I already set some of them to reach back to you guys that organize this, so they can link them up with counselors, because it's actually possible, but there are things that they need to put in place to be able to do that. It's not a walk on the park, so they definitely need some guidance if they'll be able to achieve that. So if you want to take note of those people that have asked that, so that you can link them up with counselors that can, work with them and give them the adequate guide, that would be great. Then I will just type in a response to someone asking if they must attend the foundation in the UK, US, or Canada. So I was just about to respond that no, that's why we have colleges like Westerfield in Nigeria. So you can actually do your foundation in Westerfield College and then use that as a stepping stone to get into the year 1 in the UK, for example, and the other countries as well that you've mentioned. So no, it's not compulsory that you do your foundation abroad. So that's part of the essence of this meeting for you to understand, you know, all the ways that it works and all the options that are available to you that you can take advantage of. So yeah, and then I think someone else asked, I already responded to that person. He wanted to know about doing medicine, you know, in the US. He's currently doing medicine in Nigeria. I'd explained to him that because you still need a life science background, a degree in life science for you to do medicine in the US. So that's almost not really possible. So the alternative that he or she, and I don't know if the person is male or female, the alternative that that person has is for them to either finish in Nigeria, but the person is a fresh, just year 1 or year 2 in Nigeria. So they can choose to start afresh as well, but they cannot do medicine, which is what I mentioned during my own presentation. In the US, you can't do medicine as a direct program. You can do it when you finished a degree in a life science, but you cannot go into a university as a WAEC holder and say, I want to do medicine. No, you have to have a degree in a life science for you to be able to do that. So yes, so that's it from me. If anybody has any other questions, I will be glad to take it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for every one of the speakers. Thank you for making our time to join us. We have come to the end of this session.
Oh, sorry, Ebere, someone
Okay.
has another question. So the university in the UK offer campus accommodations. Yeah, definitely. They offer on-campus accommodation to foreign students, definitely. So it depends really. If you are younger than a certain age, you might not be able to. Some schools have policies on age requirement to be on campus. If you're so young, they might actually stay with a family. They call it homestay. They will make you an homestay student. So for you to be able to stay on campus, you have to at least be 17 plus for you to be able to stay on university accommodation. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. Please, if you have any questions at the end of this session or later on at any time, you can send us a mail to counselor@degreesandcareers.info. I'm going to put that. The email address is in the chat section. You can check that. I hope to see you next month. We're going to have more webinars like this on study abroad. So you can follow us on our social media accounts to stay updated on the next ones. Thank you so much for joining today's session. Thank you to our speakers for making our time. See you next time. Bye.